Welcome back, viewers. This is episode number 33, and the Young Turks are back. So, Anmol, what is the pain point today? What are we going to talk about?
It's actually very painful. We used to use that face like it had no value. Ever
So
since
let me break the news to you. According to the recent developments since October 2023, the beautiful tourist attraction of Uttarakhand. This place close to Mussoorie, it's called George Everest. They've started. It's been privatized, and they're charging you a certain amount of fees to bring in your
it's
car.
not certain, it's a lot of it.
Right. So we'll come down to the figures soon. I'll let you talk about it because you are the one who's a local and you're quite pained about it. But
My heart
yes,
is stopping.
so yeah, so basically, when you starting from the point when you take in your car, you pay about 1,000 rupees for your car, and then you pay a fees for yourself as well to walk over. Then you pay a fees for everything, pretty much everything, as soon as you enter that place. So, Anmol, tell me what is happening out there at George Everest.
Yeah. Before talking about that, let's give a brief to our audience about George Everest, how that
Oh
peak has
yes,
been.
yes. Actually, it's not the Mount Everest. For
Yeah.
the ignorant, it's called George Everest. George Everest is a beautiful place. I mean, I'll let Anmol explain it because he's from Dehradun, and it's like it's in his backyard, and it is a place where he has been visiting as a kid with his father, and then with his in his teenage with his friend, then with his girlfriend, to have a good time and have a change of mood and change of heart sometime. Yeah, right, to basically to get some fresh air and to clear his mind. That's where he would go and sit down and probably trek a little bit. But according to the recent development, that place has been privatized by the government, and it is something I am very happy about, but Anmol is not happy about. So, Anmol, tell me why you're not happy about it, and then I'll tell you
So,
why I'm very happy about it.
so first of all, like telling our audience who are watching us across the world, Sir George Everest came to India when he was at the age of 16. He was a British surveyor and geographer, and he covered around 2,400 kilometers. So he did
Hmm.
some really good work for the East India Company here in India. I think
Hmm.
he came here in 1816, and I think he served from 1830 to
Hmm.
1843. So during that span of time, he covered 2,400 400 kilometers, mapped all of that for the East India Company on a map,
He was a
and then he,
cartographer, right?
yeah,
So a cartographer is someone who basically makes maps. It
yeah.
is an old profession. It does not exist anymore for people who are looking for a career. Okay, go ahead. Well, today we have Google for everything.
So he did that, and then he went back to London, and then someone again from England who changed the name of Mount Everest from XV to something. I read it on Wikipedia a bit. I will put a link down in the description so that our audience can give it a detailed read about it. So he pointed out that George did a lot of good work, and now the peak should be named on his name, as he stayed there. So now, of course, Sir George, he said that my name is pretty hard to pronounce, and the locals here will object it. But still, the Britishers went ahead and changed that name. So this is the history, and since then,
What
it
was
has
that
been a
called before George Everest? Okay, I mean, it was named after George Everest. What was that place called?
It was a local. It was some local name. Even I don't know it properly. So, but yeah,
So,
when
basic Gora Sahib problem where they could not pronounce it, they used to change that name.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's what we did. They did
Right.
here as well.
Right.
So they changed the name now. This place, of course, we have visited. We have seen the trek that is there, the building that is there. So everything was there. So that's how the place began. Now, fast forward to when I was born and I went there for the first time. So I started experiencing things when I was in my 10th class and got my scooty, so as well as my license, because my dad was very strict about it. So I got my license and I went there first when I was in 11th. So that point of time the place was free to go. It was anyone can visit there anytime. There was a old torn building, which now they have, of course, they
Restored.
have revamped everything. They have
Mm.
made it pretty well. So that old building was there, and then you used to trek and go up to that mountain. So this time
Mm.
when you visited, things were pretty good, in a good shape.
Mm.
But earlier it was like no one was privately managing it, so you can so it was a bit, I will say kacha rasta. So,
Right.
but yeah, it used to have its own fun.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few shortcuts, and we as school students, we used to do a lot of things. We used to do trekking. Of course, it was risky to go from the other sides of the mountain, but we used to enjoy it. And
Mm.
there are a lot of stories. We used to picnic there,
Mm.
and and
And
considering
how was the crowd at that time, at that place?
everyone, everyone from the city used to go there.
Right.
Kids,
Mm.
pigs,
So it was pretty
adults.
crowded, I'm assuming.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty crowded earlier.
And how about the sanitization of that place?
Nothing was there. If you want to go to washroom, you need to
Mm.
find some place on the mountain only. So there
And
was no
people
place.
people were throwing garbage and
People were
bottles.
throwing garbage. That was there.
Right.
That was there earlier
Mm.
because there was no one to tell them, and of course we Indians, we litter everywhere.
Yeah, that's the sad part. We need someone to tell us that you don't need
Yeah,
to dirty your own country. So,
yeah.
yes. And how, now, what is the scenario? I mean, I know we both of us rode to that place on your
Yeah.
brand new bike.
I will ask our
Uh,
team to put the pictures before and after
uh, right,
in the
right,
photo. So
right. So,
after, of course, we visited this time for us as they are our client. So
hmm.
we were able to,
Oh, no, no,
get.
let's not talk about how much we paid. Let's talk about how much we would have paid. Yeah.
So of course, if we went there, we would have paid. Of course, we went on our bike, so we would have paid, I think, 200 rupees for bike parking. Now, if we
Mm.
want to take the bike from down to up, which is that 1 kilometer trek, we need to pay another, I think, 500 to 1,000 rupees. For two wheeler, it's between 500 to 1,000. For car, it's 1,000. Then we would
Mhm.
have reached the top parking. Now, if we want to go to the museum, we have to again pay, I think, rupees 100 per person or 200 per person. Or
Right.
if would have to if we need to go for the trek, then it's again 200 rupees per person.
So for
So
the
it's a
trek
pretty
also it was
expensive.
200. We didn't pay anything, but yeah,
Of course, yeah,
for a
because
normal person it is 200 rupees.
yeah, for normal person they have made it very expensive, I will say, and especially for the locals. Now locals
Hmm.
who have been visiting that place for free, they are not able to visit. And of course, it's an expensive affair. If you want to go from Dehradun to George Everest, first you pay for the petrol, then you visit there, you pay for the parking, you pay for
Hmm.
yourself, and then you pay for the food. Now you pay for the trek, and then you
Hmm.
again pay for the museum if you need to see it. If you want to take
Hmm.
a helicopter ride, you need to pay for that. So everything is separate. And of course, I forgot about one thing. If you do
Hmm.
not want to take your vehicle to up, you want to go walking, you can take that path. But if you want to take their vehicle, then that's 100 rupees per person or 200 rupees per person separately, which is that golf cart. So it's a pretty
Hmm.
expensive affair that they have made. And of course, this time it was pretty less crowded. There was no garbage. Everything was pretty. Even the washroom there was, I think, five-star hotel, I will say. I
Right.
went there. Everything was sanitized. Everything was neat and clean. It was
So I
looking
was coming to
pretty.
that. I was coming to that. Like this actually reminds me of uh, Bhutan. Earlier, earlier Bhutan had made a rule for foreigners, not for Indians, but for anybody who's not an Indian, that they used to charge pretty expensive visa fees, and that was per day for each of them. And this rule came to Bhutan during the 60s and 70s when there was entire hippie movement going on. All these, drug addicts used to come from America and European countries. And Nepal had become a place for drug addicts and drug peddling. So the king of Bhutan realized that Bhutan does not have to be Nepal, and so he wanted to protect Nepal from that kind of crowd who was coming and spreading this kind of crap out there. So he decided to put per person, heavy per person fees, visa fees for foreigners who are coming to his country, except for barring Indians. And that led to Bhutan being, first of all, Bhutan is very clean, and the kind of crowd that came to Bhutan was all the Hollywood actors and the rich of the rich from Europe and these countries. So Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, these kind of people used to visit Bhutan. So it is a huge resort for these kind of people. So first thing, it took care of the crowd, that were kind of the quality of crowd, not just the crowd, but the quality of crowd that was coming to that country. And recently they have, for Indians also, like we are, like we were talking about what they used to do on George Everest, they did the same in Bhutan. All these bikers, they started riding to Bhutan, and they used to climb on top of their temples and take pictures, and they started disrespecting the place. And Bhutanese, being a different kind of people, they realize these people are not respecting us. So now there's, because of such people with no brains, we rest of the Indians have to now pay 1200 rupees per day in Bhutan. And if you take your
a week.
bike, yeah, it is about nearly 4,000 or odd rupees per day that you have to pay per day. And that too, if you cross one zone, and that is meant for one particular zone, if you cross that zone, you have to pay. So I might be wrong here and there, but this is how they have made it for us as well now. So this is something that Sonam Wangchuk from Leh Ladakh, the you must have heard of him, like the Three Idiots, Funsuk
Yes,
Wangaro.
yes, yes.
Yeah, so he was talking about the same kind of charges to be laid for Leh Ladakh also, because Leh Ladakh, before, earlier it was not that popular, but Three Idiots made it very popular. That
Yes,
Pangong
and now
Lake
it's
area and all those.
yeah,
Now
yeah.
it has become all, and they have a huge problem of garbage and unruly crowd. See, having crowd and business, nobody is complaining about that, but the kind of crowd that is coming there, the locals are not happy
I
with it.
think that
So
is the main problem. Even I felt that in Georgia, people from outside of Dehradun, outside of Uttarakhand used to come, and they used to always take
exactly
their
right.
drinks. You would
uh,
probably see a beer bottle after
And
everything.
you and I think I said, you and I, when before this trip, when I had come to Dehradun in 2021,
Yeah.
and we had gone to Mussoorie and we got stuck in the traffic. And this is the same thing I was talking to you about, that Mussoorie, they should levy heavy taxes for outside vehicles coming into Mussoorie. And I had said the same thing, that they should put at least 5,000 rupees per vehicle to enter Mussoorie. And then you see how Mussoorie starts shining. So
Right.
someone somewhere heard me, and they privatized. I think Pushkar Singh Dhami privatized Everest, George Everest. So I think, for me, I'm a big fan of capitalism, and
Right.
I'm a big fan of, I believe not any beautiful thing or any nice thing should not be made easily accessible to everyone. Otherwise, it loses
Especially,
its charm. And yes, I mean, it's as simple as that. You know, it's that people don't respect. So if it's the same thing, like if you charge something, even 1 rupee for something, people will value it. Like if you give it for free, people don't value it. Right? It's
right.
the same thing with these places also. If you are charged, I mean, the simple psychology, when people go to airports or they go to beautiful malls, they behave themselves. Right? Same
Right.
thing. I mean, if they're in a government area, like a park made by government or something, you look at their behavior, the kind of behavior that they have, and they're throwing shit here and there, and they're not in the best behavior. And
Right.
they were doing the same thing. And when you and I, we were climbing George Everest, going for the trek over there, you realized, you yourself said that the garbage has gone down extensively. I mean, earlier there were
Yes.
trash lying here and there. We still found a lot of plastic bottles and chips packet. People are still stupid. Yeah, they don't care about things.
Right.
But
But it
the
was pretty nice.
volume,
If you had have
yeah,
seen it earlier, it used to look like that, garbage mountain in Noida.
right, right. So this is not what
Everywhere
you.
there was garbage.
Right. So this is something that I personally feel that Privatization, if government cannot do it themselves, they should definitely privatize it, and let the private firms take care of such places, so that first of all, it is maintained. Obviously the private firms will charge their premium, and when you have to pay a premium, only a certain strata of people will come, and since they're paying that amount of money, they will also value that place.
Right, right, right. I agree
Right.
on that point. And considering now, earlier George Everest used to be a place to go and drink and have fun.
Right.
Now it has been
Right.
marketed very well with history, showcasing the museum,
Hmm.
and I think
No,
now
let's come down to that. No, let's come down to the history. Like, let's talk about. You know a lot about that place, the cartography museum, and all. Why don't you
no, I
tell about?
haven't personally
Uh,
visited that museum,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. You
that
you were
place,
interacting with them a lot
yeah.
when they we were trying to
So
work for them.
museum also it has been started after this private firm has come into the picture. Earlier, before that, the place used to be not open. I think
Hmm.
because I have visited it twice or thrice before our last visit, and that building used to be shut down. You were so there was no way you can enter that building. And
Hmm.
now, but since
That
this
used to be
private,
George Everest's bungalow, I believe, right?
yes, 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 that used to be George
Hmm.
Everest's bungalow. It's
Wow.
a good
Hmm.
one. Of course, on the mountain, you are living alone, enjoying your life. You have a good
All these
mountain.
Goras at the time of their life in our country. No?
That
Imagine living
is,
at George Everest.
yeah. And plus, considering in winters, at that point of time, of course, it used to have a lot of snowfall. So it must be
Mhm,
very beautiful. Now, of course, seeing what is happening here in Uttarakhand, so snowfall is not there, but here
mhm,
in George Everest. But yeah, earlier it used to be a beautiful place. I think so. So yeah,
mhm.
now talking about earlier. So earlier, of course, there was new museum. There was no way you can take a helicopter ride because it has been brought up by the
There was no
private firm.
helipad that time.
In terms of talking about the food you can eat, there were a few people, locals only, who were selling there, but of course, the not best quality of food, and people used to
Food was
urinate
still
on the
not that
ground.
great, right? No? I mean, you could just buy some low quality momos out there. That's all
Yeah,
we could eat. But yes, still, yeah,
but
it was
still, it
available.
was a bit hygienic.
Available.
Earlier, if
Yeah, it was
you
hygienic.
used to see how they were
Yeah.
selling momos, you wouldn't even eat it. They were very bad.
Okay. Okay, it was that
And then
bad.
somewhere place on the places of mountain, you will see people, tobacco problems we have in India.
They used
That
to
was a lot.
spit.
They used
Yeah,
to
good.
spit, and then urination problem was there a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people used to urinate on the mountains,
Uh-huh.
so it used to smell bad at some points. So that
Uh-huh.
was a really big thing previously. Now, of course, I like the part that only a good crowd was there, or the
Uh,
people who are able to pay. And also, I forgot to tell people the other charge. If you are bringing a drone, you need to pay that for that separately. If you are bringing in a camera, you need to pay for that separately. Even
oh,
for photography also you need to pay extra. So that's what they have done.
right.
And yeah, you need to take permission to fly a drone because helicopters keep on flying that zone, so you need to
It
take
could
permission.
cause an accident, a severe
Yes, that
accident.
could
Yes.
cause an accident.
Yeah.
So that is there. And yeah, I will say that overall George Everest has improved a lot. And of
No, so
course I,
now let's come down to like the marketer in you. Like, how do you see it, and like how do you see the privatized a private firm taking care of its marketing compared to a public property? So, what changes that you see as a marketer, and so what is your take on it? Like after the place has been privatized.
so earlier there was no as such marketing. It was basically your friend telling you about it.
Right, like
And
I never knew about the about George Everest being an
yeah,
outsider.
because no one was marketing it. It was you will get to know about it from your friends or from locals.
Mhm.
And basically it was a बस कोने में फेंक दिया kind of a place.
Mhm.
बस है तो है. But yeah, of course, since this private firm has come into the picture, now you will see billboards all around from
Mhm.
Delhi to Dehradun on that highway. When you go to Missouri, you will see a lot of billboards there. You will see a lot of billboards in Dehradun. Not in just the way, but of course across Dehradun, all the
Actually,
areas.
we were while we were driving from Delhi to Dehradun, we saw it throughout the highway, right?
Yes, throughout the
Yes,
highway. So
yes.
they are marketing it pretty well, and they are doing it in the right manner as well. They are promoting
Hmm.
the amenities they are bringing in, and also for the people who want to enjoy, they have stays there now. So I think which is a very good thing. Only premium people will stay. Earlier, it used to be that anyone will go there. They will put their camp and they will sleep as per their own wish,
Oh,
which
so that
was
was a free to camp area.
yeah, of course, not legally. People used to
Hmm.
just go there. There were
Hmm.
companies who used to give you camping packages, but of course,
So
locals, they will
then
just
there
buy.
was a danger of having those miscreants also
Hmm.
being there, and
Miscreants
so
was
the.
there. It was there. It was not safe to go to George Everest in the night, I will say. Now, of course,
Okay.
everywhere you will see good lighting. You can
Hmm.
go there very confidently if you have buy their package. Of course, if you are trying to sneak in, their guards will put you out.
They'll beat the lights out of you.
They'll beat the lights out of you. They have no defense.
All right.
That is a good part that now they are giving you premium stays. They are giving you they have their own, I think, liquor license as well. So you need not to worry about taking your own liquor from here, which earlier used to be
Yeah,
the case.
there is a restaurant or bar also as well, right out there.
It's coming soon. It's coming
It's
soon.
coming. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So of course, only for premium gentry they have done it, and I think it is a good idea because if you see now
Hmm.
George Everest is much better than Missouri. Of course, after George Everest, you and I we visited Missouri again. We used to see the same thing what we
Ah,
saw last time, but yeah,
right.
George Everest was good, and even in terms of marketing, they have done very well. In terms of the whole operations, they have done very well. Cleanliness
Hmm.
is good, I will
Hmm.
say. Why it's hurting the locals and they are protesting for it is that because they used to get it for free. That was the
Hmm.
main reason even I got a bit disappointed. And of course, for me as a local who have visited that place multiple times, I don't feel paying that much. But
Hmm.
yeah, people coming from outside, they love that place. They
But
will pay.
Anmol, you know what? I understand the locals must be feeling why we are being charged and why not only the outsiders are being charged for it. But I'll tell you from the story from the other side of Uttarakhand that when I had gone to Jim Corbett, this is back in 2017 or 16. I don't remember. Like yeah, somewhere around that period of time, and there's a temple, beautiful temple called of Girjaya Mata, which is right in the middle of a river. So there is an elevation in the middle of the river, and there's a temple on top of it, and the river flows around it. And so when we entered and we were outside, and that temple is known only by the locals. So it is revered by the locals, and only a few tourists like me were there who came there and took a look at it. So I mean, we saw only locals out there, but we could see trash flowing in the water. People sitting down by, and it is a temple area, but they are cooking all sorts of. I mean, I have no problem with cooking non-veg food, but every place has its own sanctity. They were
Right,
cooking meat and then they okay, you cook and you eat over there, but then they were throwing the trash and then they were washing the utensils in the water right there, and these were the locals who were doing it.
right.
So this is something that has been hurting my eyes for a very long period of time, and something that I had mentioned to you when I had come to Missouri
Yeah,
as well. We could see that the place is beautiful, but it's just that the crowd that comes there makes it ugly.
makes it
And
ugly. Yeah,
yes, and so this is what I was having an argument with someone else. That person was telling me, what is Switzerland? We have similar locations in India as well, probably more beautiful. But I told him it's Switzerland is not probably, yes, the location is beautiful, but it's not beautiful because of the location. It's because beautiful because of the kind of gentry and the kind of people
right.
that come there. So some people might call me racist or something, but it's not about being racist. It's just that those people have kept that place beautiful, and the kind of people who come there, they also behave properly. So, and Switzerland has, unlike most of the European countries, has had a very strict immigration laws. You have to be a Swiss to be there, and they have kept the sanctity of that place, and they've kept it clean and beautiful, and they've allowed only those kind of people who can spend and respect that place to come there. So I think the Indian locations need to be marketed in the same way as well. And
Right,
now I feel this will only educate the rest of the Indians also how to behave in these places.
right.
Because,
I think
like,
that this is the right way to
yeah,
go.
like you said, it was free for all. So people used to go, they were literally shitting in that place, right?
Yes, they will.
Literally shitting in that place. And they were literally spreading shit, and they were not respecting it. Now it's not available. So they're complaining that they are not letting them shit out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so, I mean, go spread your shit somewhere else. I mean, why spoil a beautiful place? Right.
Right, right,
So
right.
I think this rule should be brought out everywhere. And then, like I said, I'm very pro-capitalist. I believe when a private entity comes, obviously they need to make money, but then they market that place properly as well.
Yes, yes.
So
That
you
is
look
there. They
at,
are not bringing in the
yeah,
right gentry.
yeah. I mean, if you go to Goa as well, and also I don't like, you haven't been to Goa, but I've been to Goa at least 5 to 6 times in my life, and you can tell the difference between South Goa and North Goa. Or like the South Goa is mostly open to all the janta and everyone can come there. Yes, it has its own beauty, like, but you wouldn't want to be there during the pre-peak seasons. You can hardly walk in that place. Just forget about riding your vehicle. But at the same time, sorry, did I say South Goa? So it is North Goa. The South Goa is more, posh area where most of the five-star hotels are, and the beaches are private, and that is more residential and posh areas. So that place, though, like, these hotels have privatized that those beaches so that it has only protected the natural environment of that place.
Right.
So in the name of making it accessible, the people are going and ruining the ecology of that place also, right? So people who love nature, they would agree with me. I mean, not everybody should be allowed. I mean, look at what is happening to Mount Everest right now. Since we are talking about George Everest, I believe, I think you should ask our editors to put this picture where all these climbers are lining up to climb on Mount Everest. There's a traffic jam on the way up to Mount Everest. You can see these pictures available on the internet, and it was so funny. I mean, there's a traffic jam on Mount Everest. I mean, it has, since they have made it so easily accessible to everyone. So this is
Yeah.
where I happen to put a comment on that picture that you should probably, Nepal government should look at charging more fees so that fewer people come there. And there was another gentleman or lady, I don't remember, came and commented on my comment that, oh, that you mean to say only rich people get to fulfill their dreams? What about us common people? As I, this is where I replied, dream. First of all, dreams should not be easy to fulfill, and secondly, this is not the place to fulfill your dreams. I mean, you want to fulfill your dreams not at the cost of ruining that place.
Right.
So on that note, we can probably end this podcast. I mean, yes, so privatization is not always a bad thing, and I
It is.
believe
It can be a good thing if done right.
done in the right manner. Yes. So far, George Everest, I was pretty much happy with what they have done with that place. They could
Yeah.
probably make it more beautiful. I think they might do it
I
over
think they
time.
will because they have taken over
Yeah.
recently. Earlier, if you
Hmm.
ever had, went with me, there was no road, a
Hmm.
proper road. It used to be a kacha rasta. You will slip down and go
Hmm.
in somewhere
You'll
and
just go
nobody will
somewhere.
find it. No one
Nobody
will
would
find
know.
it. Yeah. But now they have improved it a lot, I will say. Even the cleanliness that was on the top of the peak, it was, I will say, that they have done a good job, commendable job.
Right.
They have done a good job.
Awesome.
Perfect.
So, on that note, viewers, I mean, what is your take on it? I mean, you might agree with Anmol, or you might agree with me, you might not agree with both of us. What is your take about George Everest? Or charging a premium for all these beautiful spots? I understand it'll make life difficult for even people like me who we and Anmol, we don't have that much money, but then again, we also love our country, and I love we love Mother Earth as well as a whole. So we believe that there should be a certain amount of premium that should be charged for these
Right.
places so that they remain protected and should not be made so easily accessible to people. What is your take on it? Please do leave your comment,
Yes, in the comments.
thoughts in the comments, and
Yes.
don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and
Thank you
hit the
so much,
bell
Mohammed.
icon. And
We'll see you soon.
yes, we'll see you soon.
All right.